Welcome to America's Heroes Group.
Welcome back to America's Heroes Group. As always, we're doing community outreach at this roundtable. August is National Wellness Month. Today is Saturday, August 12th, 2023. Our host is Kelley. I'm Sean Claiborne, the co-host. Our executive producer is Glenda Smith. Our digital media producer is Ivan Ortega of Scotland Productions, who is not with us today, but will be back soon. So make sure you see us on WVON.com. We're live streaming today on WVON.com. You can also check us out on iHeartRadio, but not on Facebook and not on YouTube today. But you will see us coming up and uploading, of course, all our stuff on YouTube and also on Facebook, so you can see what we look like and hear our topics, and also go back and look at our archives. But we have a great guest today. That is Mr. Michael Manson. He's a U.S. Navy veteran, founder and president of the Musical Arts Institute. And we're going to talk about what they do, their mission, and also some of the great things they're doing with the kids of today, and also seeing how veterans have been serving our community after their initial tour is done. How you doing, Mike?
All is well. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. So tell us about the Musical Arts Institute. How did you come up with this? What do you guys do?
Okay, so back in 2010, or actually just before 2010, I had been teaching music in the very affluent north suburbs of Evanston and Northbrook, and where we had all the resources and instruments and motivations, and the families were great. Parents were involved with their kids. The arts was really valued. And then around 2009, just before 2010, I taught for a year here in the CPS on the south side of Chicago. And I found out one thing, that our kids on the south side of Chicago have just as much talent, just as much ability as any other kid where the resources are plenty. Mm. So my wife and I decided to open up a location where kids would have a chance to express themselves in the arts, express themselves in music, with the spirit of excellence, where seemingly there were not enough resources in the schools and in the other youth development organizations, where the focus would be on excellence. So that said, in 2010, we opened up. We were donated through the St. James AME Church. They donated a parish house to us, and we opened up. We started out with 30 students and 5 teachers. Mm. And now, through our partnerships and community outreach, we're serving over 3,000 students per week.
Wow.
With music education. And also, we have about 100 students who are all our college readiness program, our music conservatory program, where those kids, 100% of those kids, get scholarships in music and go on to college, and we're very proud of that. So we exposed about 3,000 kids, to music and music education, trying to just kind of lessen the negative elements that are in our community. Perhaps even prevent some crimes. Put an instrument in somebody's hands who, might have a gun in their hand, or it's that extreme in our community, honestly. So now we're almost 13 years in. No, we're 13 years in, and looking to grow even further.
Wow, that's amazing. So being able to go from taking it from the experience and the knowledge you had from being successful in a community that had resources, and then going from and realizing, saying, let me go back to my own community and let me go and help out the kids that haven't had the type of the cultivation and the resources and the instruments and things like that, helping these kids out and then making a difference and an impact. Do you take a lot of that service? What made you take that service and that burden, if you will, on your back to create such a thing? So it's got to be like pushing a boulder uphill to do what you've done and to build what you built in the South Side of Chicago.
Well, I take it very personal. I grew up when music education was abundant, and back when I was very young, there was a music teacher that told me, and I believed him, that I was talented at music, and I could make music my livelihood for the rest of my life if I actually pursued it. We're looking through our 30 teachers to create those stories. Music can change your life. The study of music can change your life, even if you're not a professional musician. Even if the kids choose to do something else in their lives, the study of music has such benefits that if we can get that out to our kids, again, we create a stronger, better citizen for our community.
Wow. And then when you were talking about your time in the military, you were in the Navy. And
yes.
did any of that, what made you join the Navy? And then did you take any of those resources and skills and apply that to what you do today?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So I had a real desire to go to college once I left high school. Didn't really have that much money. So I was like, okay, well, I need to do something. So I joined the Navy. And actually, my major job was an aircraft mechanic. So I worked at the air bases. But I had, since I had such a musical talent, I participated in the Navy Gospel Choir and the Navy Jazz Band. And so those things, and being able to study with musicians who were so dedicated, just took my game up a little bit more. And so once I was back home and in New Reserve, I put those skills to good use.
Wow. And how do kids find you? How do kids get involved with your program?
Good question. It's amazing. Once you're doing good work in the community, word of mouth travels really, really well. Of course, we have our website, we have our marketing team, and and the big thing for us is being exposed to 3,000 kids per week, where we're essentially looking for the diamonds in the rough. So that's the biggest deal for us, is to be in the schools, in youth organizations, looking for the next Michael Manson, or looking for the next George Duke, or looking for the next Beyonce, or whatever. Mm-hmm. We're looking for them, and but in the midst of all of that, we're doing good work with providing music as an alternative to these kids.
Wow, and the kids don't have to have a lot of resources. That's the thing that I think is so amazing, because playing an instrument can be expensive. Trying to acquire an instrument can be inexpensive.
Absolutely, and they do not have to have it. And that was the thing that when I was in Northbrook and Evanston and those areas, having those instruments was no big deal. They were readily available in the schools, and parents were more than willing and had the resources to buy instruments. That is not the case here on the south side of Chicago. And so the MAI assists in giving instruments and scholarshiping instruments to kids and families that need those resources in order to be successful.
So how do you get support and the funding to do what you do? Because you're a nonprofit organization, and you've been doing this for 13 years now. How do you go about getting sponsors to partner with you to help you on your mission? Okay,
it's pretty wide ranging, but being the executive director, I call myself the chief beggar. I'm the chief beggar for money, but no, we have a number of foundations. Philanthropic organizations that give to us on a yearly basis. We also have individual donors that give to us. We receive a little state funding, for crime prevention, and so it kind of varies, but mainly it's foundation and individual donors that give to us, and we're always looking for donations, and we're always doing fundraisers so that we can raise funds and be known in the community.
And speaking of fundraisers, I see I have your pamphlet here. I'm gonna put this in the camera if they can see it. I got the Dream Big Gala for 2023 to 2024 sponsorship opportunities. January 13th, 2024, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. It's going to be held at 5300 North River Road, Rosemont, which is the Lowe's Hotel in Rosemont, Illinois. That's going to be a great gala, kind of a black tie event. Tell us about this, and then also what else do you have on the agenda coming up for the rest of this year and next year?
So we're really, really excited. The Dream Big Gala is going to be our big fundraising event for 2024. It's actually going to be Martin Luther King weekend, Saturday, January 13th, at the Lowe's Hotel in Rosemont. It's going to be it's a musical extravaganza in which we will have Musical Arts Institute students that are going to play. I'm actually a recording artist myself, and I'm going to play. And I'm going to put it out there. We're going to have a very special guest who was the lead singer for the R&B group LTD.
Okay.
Can't really say the name right now. Do the research.
You'll probably find it out pretty soon. I can see my mom's. I can see my mom's record. She had an LTD album in her basement and credenza, and I remember that album cover. I can't remember which album it was.
Right. So, but he's a very, very special guest, very, very special friend of mine.
Wasn't Jeffrey Osborne? He wasn't the lead singer, was he? He was one of them. He was in there.
Okay, you didn't hear from me, but yes.
Wow. Wow.
Okay. So yeah, Jeffrey will be with us.
Wow.
Not really supposed to advertise that just yet, but yes, he will be our very special guest.
Wow, that's amazing. That's gonna be cool.
Yes, it will be. It will be very cool. And we've known each other for many, many years. We were introduced through our good friend, our mutual friend, George Duke, who passed away about 10 years ago. And so I played in George Duke's band for about, I'm a bass player by trade. And so I played in George Duke's band for about 17 years, the last 17 years of his life. And, of course, Jeffrey and George were the best of friends because George was his producer who started his solo career.
Wow.
So, lots of history there.
Wow. So what else do you have coming up? Anything beyond this? What do you guys do as your daily operations? Like, give me a day in the life of Mr. Michael Manson and his wife.
Okay, so we get up in the morning. We both of us have early morning practice routines. So we're both musicians, of course, and so we have very early practice routines. Then we come to the school. We check on our staff. We have again a very, very, very capable staff of 30 teaching musicians. So we check in on our staff and make sure that they have what they need in order to fulfill our mission. And then all of us still teach. So she'll teach a lesson or two. I'll teach a lesson or two. And then I'm on the phone or on the computer searching for funding. That's kind of my day. And then usually in the evening or so, aside from having sit down time with her, we have some type of rehearsal or practice or ensemble that we're involved with, either with kids or with professionals.
Wow. I think that's important. We had a guest on earlier today, and there's something that you learn in the military, you have exposure to, but musicians know this better than anybody else, I believe. My personal opinion, I think you guys are the best at understanding the value of practice, or another way of saying it is training.
Absolutely.
Going in that discipline, and that the discipline to do it every day and do it all the time. But in a sense, maybe because you love it so much, but does practice ever seem like work, or is it just fun when you practice?
It's repetitive, right? Mm-hmm. But it allows me to do the thing that I love so much. So it's not really work because I figure I've been playing music now for over 46 years. I don't feel like I've worked a day in my life. meaning that I get up every morning and I get a chance to do what I love. Mm-hmm. Now, practice is routine. Practice is, arduous, repetitive, but allows me to do what I love at a high level so that I feel good about what I'm doing, and others, I get the chance to share with others the gift of music. So I don't feel like it's work at all.
Wow, that's such a powerful lesson. I think that kids, particularly in communities where there's so much temptation and trap doors and wrong way and alleys and things like that, where you can just go into an area and never come out of and not have success in life because of those decisions you might be tempted to make. But having the discipline to learn how to do something constructive and being able to do that all the time and do that every single day, to have that desire to do something and to make yourself better. I think that's such a powerful lesson. And I think every child in America, I don't have any children personally, but I talk to my girlfriend about this all the time. I had told her is that, I wish somebody had done that with me when I was a kid. And I didn't have the discipline to try to bang out the keyboard all the time. Then you get frustrated because it doesn't sound right, and then you get frustrated, and then if there's nobody there to kind of mentor you and to help you along the way, sometimes you just give it up.
Right. It's one of those things where I was just talking with a parent just the other day about how music and academics and music and schooling, specifically math, they go hand in hand. The benefits are so great when you're studying music, and again, having that discipline, being able to practice something, being able to problem solve, because practice, like I said, is very repetitive, and sometimes you get stuck, and being able to break down that musical problem into a small segment and do it repetitively in order to figure it out, and not only that, to the point of mastery. That is just, those benefits outweigh everything. It's like, it's one of the best things, one of the best benefits of playing music, being able to learn yourself and learn that discipline and learn how to problem solve. And, like I said, music and academics, they go well together.
So what would you say is the state of music and education today? Or because we hear about a lot of stuff going on in the world, or I should say in this country particularly, or schools are running into budget problems. What's the state of can you give us kind of a rundown almost like as a correspondent, like what's happening in particularly in secondary education, high schools I'm talking about, secondary, but high schools I'm talking about, what's happening with the arts and education? Is it being financed? Is it being funded? Is it dying? Is it thriving? What's going on?
So it depends on the culture. It depends on the environment. I must say, from a personal view, sometimes funding for the arts depends on your zip code. And depending on your zip code, it could be funded. It could be well funded, actually, and admired. And then the other zip codes, there's probably no money for it. I like to say that's where the Musical Arts Institute steps in. In our zip codes, where there's very little funding and resources are slim, if any, that's where we step in. We're not needed in an affluent suburb. We're needed where there is little funding and little encouragement, but the kids are still in need. So I'm saying that, in some communities, when they make a budget cut, they don't cut the arts. But seemingly in other zip codes, specifically our zip codes, if there needs to be a budget cut, the arts go first. And so can the tide change? Of course it can. But there's always going to be a need in there are even some high schools here in this area that don't have a music program. That to me is a travesty.
Wow.
It's like you're in high school and you're about to make decisions for your life, and music is not one of them that are provided in the schools. What is that? That's craziness to me.
Yeah. And you hear about so many stories. I mean, people that are successful today that can point back to a YMCA or a music program that kept them out of trouble and actually put them on the path to success. You know?
Yeah, and
it wasn't the trigonometry class that got them where they were, unfortunately, unless they're Neil deGrasse Tyson or somebody like that. But it's just, you always hear about, you know, the business person or the athlete or the entertainer, but particularly in business. And so many people that said, you know what, with the after school program, when I was playing drums instead of, you know, hanging out in the corner.
Yeah. It's that tenuous, you know. So we're actually looking at a new home, a new building that we're trying to buy, and we're looking around in the neighborhood, the new neighborhood that we're going to be experiencing, and it's like, you know, there is such a need, you know, for the Musical Arts Institute in organizations like us that go in and find these kids who seemingly don't have an opportunity to express themselves in the arts, and to give them an opportunity. That's a big deal for us.
And to reach you, so if kids go to the musicalartsinstitute.org, that's www.musicalartsinstitute.org, yes, they can go and find their information, also find out ways to partner or sponsor, and businesses and so on. Once again, give us the information about the gala.
Oh, and that's the gala. So the gala is January 13th, 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock.
Is it 6 to 10 or 7 to 11? The one I said 7 to 11.
The VIP hour sets at 6.
Okay, perfect.
So, yeah. And then we have another event coming up real soon as well. So, I mean, I did want to put that in there as well.
Oh,
we have a golf tournament.
Okay.
Coming up. Golf outing, our first annual golf outing. It's going to be September 27th at the Odyssey Country Club in Tinley Park. And if you go to our website, of course, there's a lot more information about that. But we're excited about that. It's going to be from 7 o'clock to 1 o'clock with the luncheon included. And for those who are into golf, that's a Wednesday. And we already have a number of golfers who have registered. But and I'm not a golfer, full disclosure. But I'm being indoctrinated into the world of golf.
It couldn't get me. I mean, I like to play golf. I have a lot of golf bums that are friends of mine, but I just can't get into it. I don't know what it is. It doesn't grab me the same way. I don't get bored with it. Like if you I'll go in a minute on somebody's golf, outing or trip or whatever in a minute.
Sure.
But I won't. I'm not that guy that gets up like every day at 5 o'clock, like my friend won't say any names, that and drive balls every day for like 2 hours.
Right. So I'm finding that there's a big community out there that loves this, and so we're providing opportunity for people to play a round of golf for a good cause.
And keep us posted. We'll have you back on the show soon because we want to hear more about these opportunities for partnerships and also for these people that help their communities with what you do. Thanks a lot for coming on our show.